Day 22, paused wide grip pull-ups, paused push-ups, and squats. So I went for perfect reps on my pull-ups with really strong scapular retraction at the top of the movement. And I just stopped my set when I started losing my ability to maintain that proper technique in that scap retraction at the top. So I stopped well short of failure and just terminated my set as soon as my shoulder blades were no longer able to maintain that tight squeeze. And I'm a big fan of this movement specifically to train that action in the shoulders and the upper back. Really useful, really powerful movement. Today I'm going to talk about injuries in calisthenics. And first, before I start, I'm not a doctor, so this is not medical advice, so please don't interpret it as such, all right? In general, I believe that training with calisthenics poses a lower injury risk than when training with weights. And maybe with the exception of some of the straight arm work that people get into in some of the gymnastics-based calisthenics, things like planches and back levers can definitely be really, really stressful on your connective tissue, specifically on the bicep tendon. And you can actually tear that tendon doing some of those movements if you're not properly conditioned. So those movements do carry with them an elevated risk. But as far as the basics, like what I do, push-ups, pull-ups, squats, and lunges, that sort of thing, these are really low-risk movements. And the injuries people do tend to develop from doing them are more overuse in nature. It's from doing too much too soon. And oftentimes that can just be remedied by backing off a little bit in terms of volume or frequency. And those overuse injuries tend to resolve themselves. With the exception of golfer's elbow. And let me tell you a quick story about golfer's elbow. So when I was younger and I could recover a little bit more, so in my early 20s, I worked up to the one-arm chin-up, and I got a really bad case of golfer's elbow multiple times in each elbow. And I was actually worried that I wouldn't even be able to perform regular pull-ups. It was so intense, like really bad, sensitive to the touch. And I've had this pop up multiple times throughout my training career, every time I mess around with single arm chin-up work. So this is one of the reasons why I really don't do a lot of this stuff anymore. The juice has never been worth the squeeze for me. Every time I get the one arm chin-up, I end up paying for it in terms of joint health. But anyway, golfer's elbow is actually pretty common, and a lot of people get this with just regular chin-ups. I would say this, from working with clients, the people I see who get this most are the ones that start doing really excessively high chin-up volume when they're unconditioned, and specifically when they're doing chin-ups on a straight bar, okay? Now, in case you're not aware, golfer's elbow is an injury to the inside of the elbow joint, on the pinky side of your elbow. And it is really stubborn, and it does not respond well to rest. So for instance, you can get this, it pops up, you think, oh, I need to back off a few days. You back off like a week, you come back and the first set you do irritates it, and it's like you're back at square one. So it's not an injury that responds well to just rest. So here's what I have found works for me, and again, this is not medical advice, but what has worked for me in the past and some of my clients, it's a movement called a reverse Tyler. And you use this on what's called a flex bar. Look this up, and I'll even link something in the description so you can read more about this. But this has been really effective both for myself and clients, and also has a good amount of clinical evidence to support its effectiveness in treating this condition specifically, because of the risk of elbow tendonitis with this, okay? So that's what I have to say about injuries in general for calisthenics. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you're enjoying the content, please subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I will see you tomorrow.